Welcome to Ramsey's Kitchen. Today we're making sweet potato curry. My lovely wife Becky is behind the camera, so I have a professional camera person on hand. For this recipe you will need some chicken breast, broccoli, vegetable stock helps, spices, so we've got curry powder, garlic, we've got cumin, got turmeric there. We've also got, you'll need some coconut milk, get the reduced fat one because it's considerably less calorie dense. White basmati rice, but you can use brown, and some sweet potato. You'll also need some oil for cooking, so you can use either rapeseed oil or, for example, I'll be using some coconut oil. First things first, there's two of us, so 2 chicken breasts. We're going to get the scissors and we're going to cut these chicken breasts and put them in a pan with some oil, start frying them on. Look at me. Pro tip. Becky, don't turn the camera. Why are you turning the camera? Pro tip, don't eat raw chicken. It'll make you badly. Once I've cut the chicken breast, I'm going to wash my fingers, wash everything, keep everything hygienic. And then while that's frying off, I'm going to cut up the broccoli because we're going to roast the broccoli. So I'm putting the broccoli in a roasting tin and we're going to roast it while everything's cooking. I'm also going to stick the kettle on and boil a full kettle of water. So in terms of quantities, today we're going to use white basmati rice, and depending on how hungry I am, normally on the back of a packet it'll say roughly 75 grams of rice per person. Personally I use about 100 grams per person. Obviously we tend to, as athletes, have a little bit more than normal population, but obviously depending on what your calorie goals are, then you can adjust it as appropriate. Okay, so next thing is to cut up the veg. So we're going to cut up the sweet potatoes. I generally leave the skin on, cut off the ends, go down the middle, and then I'm just going to slice the roughly that size. Like I say, this is to do 2 portions. There's probably going to be a leftover portion of this, so I'm going to cut up maybe 4 to 5 sweet potatoes, small sweet potatoes. And then these are going to go in the pan once the chicken's cooked. While I'm cutting these sweet potatoes, I'm also going to chop up this broccoli, and that's going to go in my roasting tin, so I'm going to roast that for about 20 minutes. Okay, so sweet potato is cut up and the ends are off. Chicken is about cooked. So I'm going to give this another couple of minutes and then the sweet potato is going to go in there. We've got the broccoli in a roasting pan with a little bit of rapeseed oil on and some salt on it. The salt is quite critical to crispen it up and make it quite flavoursome. So this is going to now go in the oven. We've got the oven on roughly 190 to 200 degrees. And then in a minute's time, this sweet potato is going to go into there. That's going to all cook together. You can stick an onion in as well if you want. And then once that's kind of mixed in, we'll chuck in the coconut milk and the spices. While I remember, I'm going to stick the macros and the calories on the screen now. So if you take a look at that, that will be based on 100 grams of rice and 1 sweet potato per person, which is generally what I do. Like I say, I've got 3 sweet potatoes here. And the rest of it will be divided into 3 portions, so there'll be 1 for me, 1 for my wife, and then 1 for a leftover lunch for one of us tomorrow. I usually just fry this off a little bit with the chicken before I add any of the liquids, just to kind of mix the flavours a little bit. Then coconut milk can go in, and then any of the spices that you want. I just use like medium curry powder to make it easy, and I usually just stick in a bit of extra turmeric and cumin. If you do like spice, this would be the time to put in some chili. We aren't that into spice, so we leave it out. So we're looking for, I go for about 100 grams per person, so that'll be 200 grams, but we're also going to have a small serving left over for tomorrow, which will be roughly 70 grams of rice. So if we go for about 270 grams, spot on. Okay, adding coconut milk into pan. I'm also going to add one vegetable stock cube or chicken stock cube, and then I'm going to add some curry powder. I'm going to add a bit of extra turmeric and some cumin. Mix it all together and let that simmer for roughly 15 minutes, at which point in 5 minutes I'll stick the boiling water in the rice. You take your broccoli out after about 10-15 minutes and just give it a move around to make sure the sides are cooking well. Also, quick one, get the stalk in there as well. You can see the stalk there. There's nothing wrong with it, it's just as tasty and just as nutritious. Don't waste food. So nearing the end of my cooking now. I've just prodded a couple of sweet potato and they're all cooked through. It's been bubbling away for a good 10-15 minutes now. My rice is just about done, I'm going to take it off now, and my broccoli is a couple of minutes away. So time to serve up now. You could go down the route of using the scales and weighing it all out, but I've just got a fairly good hand for using this this spoon. I've got all 3 bowls here, 2 for tonight and 1 for a leftover lunch. I'm just gonna match these out fairly evenly, but with a slight weight towards the evening meals. So an extra spoonful in these evening meals. So now curry, making sure that we've got an even distribution of chicken for each serving to make sure we've got an appropriate amount of protein for each serve, and obviously being quite critical with kind of making sure that there's enough sweet potato on each one. So this is roasted broccoli for about 20 minutes now. I think personally it tastes so much better than boiled. Just gonna serve this out into the plates. You'll also see I've got a few roasted cashew nuts in there as well. Obviously if you're watching your calories, that's something to cut out because they are fairly calorie dense, but yeah, they really work well with curries. So there's my sweet potato chicken curry. There's my serving, Becky's serving, and serving left over for lunch.